Welcome back to another episode of On a Mission. I am Grace Hooks, and I am joined today by Miss Lauren Morris with Move Inclusive Dance. Miss Morris, how are you doing today?
I'm great. Thank you so much for having me.
Thank you so much for being on. So we were talking a little bit offset about what you do and what Move Inclusive Dance is. So why don't you tell our audiences what it is that you do?
Yes. So Move Inclusive Dance is a nonprofit based here in Nashville, Tennessee. We are dance studios for people with disabilities. So we have two locations, one in Nashville, one in Franklin, where we serve individuals of all ability levels and all ages year round through our classes. But in addition to our in house programming that we do at those two locations, we also do a ton of community outreach. So we partner with other nonprofits that might serve people with disabilities, schools, any type of group that's looking to bring inclusive dance to the people that they serve, and we bring what we do to them. So that allows us to reach a lot of people, and the goal is just to get as many people as possible that don't have easy access to experiencing the joy of dance involved in something that's great for them physically and mentally and socially. There's so many benefits that go into being a part of a dance class.
I love it. So tell me a little bit about how you got started with your dance company and what made you want to create a dance studio that is inclusive to all bodies and all neurodivergencies and all states on the neurospectrum.
Yeah. So I did not grow up around anyone firsthand that had a disability in my life. I feel like when I meet people and I tell them what they do, they assume that I have, a family member or a close friend that was kind of the inspiration for all of this. And that's not the case, actually. I did grow up dancing myself. I started dancing when I was 3 years old, and I always say it was just like the one constant in my life. The one place that I wanted to be was my dance studio. It's where I felt safe and where, I felt like I could just be my most authentic self. And for whatever reason, around the age of 13, remember being on the way home from dance class and talking to my mom about the special ed class at my school. We were not integrated with them at all. It wasn't inclusive at that time. But I would see them, in the cafeteria, in the gym, and I just felt very drawn to them. But because I did not have any like firsthand experience interacting with people with disabilities, and I hate saying this now because I know it sounds so silly, but I didn't know like what to say or how to interact with them. Out of just fear of like saying the wrong thing. And now I know that you just act like you would to anyone else. But in that moment, I just like felt this hesitancy. And so I was talking to my mom about it, and I said, I wonder why there's not a dance studio for people like that. And that was the first time that the seed was planted in my mind. And I just kind of carried it with me for years. I never really thought I would pursue it because it did feel very random. But it just kind of kept coming back in my life. And so in 2018, I finally said, you know what, I'm just going to try this. I'm going to see what this is. At least if it doesn't pan out, I can move on and not think about it anymore. But maybe there is something there. And so that's where I got started. I did a week-long summer camp for teens and adults with Down syndrome, that first group. And it was life-changing. And so after that week, I said, I am full steam ahead here. I spent the next year fundraising and getting everything put together to open my first studio, which happened in 2019.
That is amazing. I love what you said about how, even though it sounds silly, like you don't know what to say to people who are disabled, physically or mentally, but you just speak to them speak to them just like there's no difference.
Exactly.
I love it because I feel like that's what I've also had to learn and experience as myself, as somebody who's neurotypical and able-bodied, is just being able to speak to people normally is the most inclusive thing that you can do. It's not waiting on somebody who might have a physical disability. It's not babying your sentences to speak to somebody who has an intellectual disability. It's matching the level that they're at, and it makes them feel included to your space. And I can only imagine how your students must feel when they're included into your dance studio. It's
Well, and
beautiful.
it's like it's so basic, right? I mean, I think that the parents, especially that we get to work with of our dancers, have taught me so much over the years, and just
Hmm.
learning from their experiences. And now I'm a mom myself, and all you want is for your kid to be accepted and to have friends and to be given every opportunity that they deserve, which is what everyone else has access to. And
Hmm.
so again, it's like it's almost embarrassing for me to admit that was once my mindset, because it was just out of a place of ignorance. But now we do live in a time where we have social media and more self advocates that are able to like use that as a platform to be like, hey, this is how you interact with me. It's not, disability is not a bad word. It's not a bad thing. It's just a part of life. And so that has kind of become part of my just like personal mission, not necessarily with Move, but educating people on that. And from a way that I can. Obviously, I
Yeah.
don't have the lived experience, but anytime we get a volunteer that comes to us that's like, hey, I don't have any experience working with people with disabilities, is that okay? I'm like, of course it is. And it's almost like I want to pour into them even more.
Exactly. And it really is the little things that make people feel included, like having a dance studio
Yeah.
and having that be accessible to people who don't typically have access to that. So, talking about Move, what are some of the classes that you guys feature? I know that there are people who will specialize in ballet, there's tap, there's contemporary, jazz. What kinds of dance classes do you have?
Yeah, we have a variety of classes on our schedule. Most of our classes are what we call groovy moves. That's kind of just like our signature upbeat class. We do ballet lyrical, musical theater, Latin dance. We have all kinds
Mm.
of different things that we offer. All of our classes do have an element of what we call creative movement that's just kind of interwoven into the curriculum, which
Mm-hmm.
is a way that we're able to really tailor the experience to the person's ability level. So, if we're working with a dancer who maybe they have certain limitations that, make certain technique not possible for them for whatever reason, we're able to
Mm-hmm.
tap more into that creative movement side of, just how can you move your body to the music in a way that expresses this emotion or this emotion. So there's a lot of that that's happening. We have some classes that are just creative movement. Most recently, we have launched a new wheelchair dance class, which has been really, really cool to see. This was kind of a dream that I had from the beginning, but I didn't have anyone to teach the class until I met our wonderful instructor, Scarlett, who is a wheelchair user but grew up in a dance studio. So
Mm-hmm.
she's the perfect fit to lead that class. And it has been a whole new, like just really special community that has come from that group of dancers getting to again learn from someone with the lived experience of having the same or similar disability that they have. And her students, the way that they, especially the younger kids, look up to her, it's just like one of the most special things that I've ever been able to witness.
Oh, yeah. It's all about representation. And so
Yes.
for them to be represented by a dance instructor who's kind of looks like them,
Yes.
I can imagine that it means so much to them to have not only the space to do it, but have the instructor who understands what they might be experiencing. It's so lovely. I love how inclusive it is. I love how positive it sounds for people who would benefit from it. How can people support your mission and how can people find you guys on the event?
Yes. So you can find us on any social media channels at Move Inclusive Dance. Our website is moveinclusivedance.com. If you're local to the Nashville area or the Franklin area, we have tons of volunteer opportunities. We're always looking for people to come in and help with classes. But if that's not really your vibe, there's other things you can help with, more behind the scenes. We do a lot of special events where we need extra support. And of course, we're always looking for donors. Again, we are a nonprofit, and we want our programs to be as accessible to people as possible, and that includes anyone who might have some financial constraints. So we have opportunities for people to donate to scholarship funds for dancers, and again, all of that can be found at moveinclusivedance.com.
That is wonderful. Miss Lauren, thank you so much for joining me today. I have loved talking to you and learning about your experience.
Thank you.
Awesome. And thank you, viewers, for tuning into another episode of On a Mission. For more information, you can head over to dailynewsnetwork.com and we'll have all of our information right there for you. We'll see you on the next episode of On a Mission.